Minister Mmamoloko Kubayi has lashed out at uMkhonto weSizwe Party Secretary-Genaral Floyd Shivambu after he was seen with fugitive Shepherd Bushiri in Malawi. Kubayi says the move undermines South Africa's legal system and sends a dangerous message to victims of crime. Bushiri fled the country in 2020 while facing charges including those of rape and fraud. Him and his wife are appealing a court ruling approving their extradition. And to talk about this, let's get the latest for you now with our politics reporter, Qaanitah Hunter. Qaanitah, good morning. So we saw about a half an hour or so ago the Justice Minister reflecting on this and how it does undermine South Africa's legal system. But I'd like for us to begin with the gravity of the charges that are actually facing Prophet Bushiri and his wife Mary.
Absolutely, Iman. You know, in the political noise and drama around Shepherd Bushiri, we forget the case that the state has made in the extradition application to the Malawi court. The NPA made the case that he is facing several charges of rape, and they detailed what those charges look like. The state claims that Bushiri lured women into a hotel in Pretoria, the Sheraton Hotel rather, between 2016 and 2020. And two of these women were sisters at the time. These were some as young as 16 years old. He would lure them into these hotels under the notion that he would give them counsel or interpret maybe visions that they would have experienced. And then these women have since spoken out to say that they were sexually assaulted by Bushiri. The state also claimed that not only did these assaults take place and rape incidents take place, there was also an attempt to bribe these women into silence. And so this is in addition to the other charges that Bushiri faces, which include obviously fraud, corruption, violating foreign currency legislation. And so this was the case that was made to the Malawi court, 13 charges. The court said he could be extradited on 3 of it. Regardless of that, the state obviously says they have a watertight case and that Bushiri must come back to South Africa to tell his side of the story.
As you say, we've kind of hinged on the political aspect, but let's go back to the justice system. Now, the Justice Minister was on the program not too long ago. Just remind our viewers what she had to say. As you have reminded our viewers, these are very, very serious capital charges.
Justice Minister Mmamoloko Kubayi says that Floyd Shivambu is not an ordinary person. He is a parliamentarian, he is a senior politician in South Africa, and he ought to have known better to not only go and attend a church service, but to publicly endorse Floyd Shivambu. Iman, I mean, just see what Floyd Shivambu says. Thank you, my brother, Prophet Bushiri, for hosting us and the kind words.
I think we actually have it, so we'll project it to our viewers, but you can narrate what he had said there.
Carrying on saying, the government scale amount of work you do economically, educationally, socially, and spiritually uplift our people is unparalleled now and in history. He continues to say, I know that the leadership and people of Malawi appreciate and cherish the so many massive programs you do for the people on the ground. Continue doing the good work. And that's why the Justice Minister, Iman, says that this is a public endorsement. This is dangerous because it undermines our justice system, because South Africa has been trying for the last 4 years to bring back Bushiri so that he can face the charges. Let's take a listen.
Leader within the political system of South Africa, and we do believe that followers do follow what he does. They will believe in what he does, and we appreciate what uMkhonto weSizwe as a party that is represented in Parliament has been able to do to distance themselves this, because we can't afford South Africans themselves to undermine the rule of law, to undermine their own justice system, and go and promote a foreign national in another country. You leave South Africa as a South African to go and undermine your own country in another country. That's not patriotism. And surely for somebody like Floyd, whom I've known for years, I'm really disappointed. It's uncharacteristic for somebody to really forget about your own country, to go and do something else that undermines the very nature, the fiber of his own society and country in another country.
It is quite astonishing when you remind us of what's in that indictment, when you hear what the Justice Minister is saying, when you also tell us of Floyd's stature in South African society as a parliamentarian, as
former parliamentarian, he's now full-time.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. And also now, in the executive of one of the key opposition parties in the country. We have heard the MK party react to this. They've released a statement. We were hoping to talk to them in this hour, but we understand they've scheduled a news conference for 2. But what they say is that they do not stand with victims of exploitation, that they will never align themselves with those who use religion as a shield to defraud, abuse, or mislead the public. The question to them is how much how much has this incident, this visit, brought the party's reputation into disrepute, and what they plan to do about it?
Absolutely. Obviously, the public backlash that Floyd Shivambu faced over the last day or so prompted the party to make this very bold statement late last night, saying they have nothing to do with it. He went there in his personal capacity, but he is the Secretary-General. The Secretary-General is the engine of a political party, and for him to associate this way with a known fugitive, someone who has disregarded the law, is absolutely grave. And secondly, Iman, I think it's important to note that the Justice Department is trying everything in its power to bring Bushiri back. They're saying that they hope by the end of the year that he's back in South Africa. And so this is, not only, has political consequences, but it has consequences in terms of undermining the rule of law.
I mean, one just thinks, what were you thinking, Mr. Shivambu, in doing this, especially against the backdrop of serious charges in a country that is riven with gender-based violence?
Absolutely. And like we reflected earlier, Iman, these charges are not, small or minor in any way. The details at which the state made the case to that Malawi court paints the bigger picture, that this was systemic in some way, that he actually Bushiri allegedly had some of his sons or disciples, if you like, procure these women or lure these women into hotel rooms. He denies it. He says that it is a plot against him. He says he accused the Hawks of trying to use these women and as an extortion tool against him. And he obviously fought against the extradition process by saying that his life is not guaranteed if he comes back to South Africa. But obviously the question is, why run if you have nothing to hide?
All right, so we are expecting that news conference. Have we heard anything else?
Absolutely not. We're waiting to hear further details from the MK party. The real question now is what would be the consequences for Floyd Shivambu? Will he be made to apologize? Will he made to explain what was the nature of the trip, if it was in his personal capacity? What was the meeting with Bushiri about? And why did it, subsequently had a public endorsement of this known fugitive?
Well, we know from their statement that they said he did this of his own accord, in his own capacity, that it was without the mandate nor the knowledge of the party. So it would be interesting to understand when they first got wind. Obviously, they find out like everybody else. And what is the internal party mechanism to deal with this from a disciplinary point of view? Qaanitah Hunter will release you into the fields, because if that happens, we're hoping to have a live position at that news conference.